to another episode of the Standing Room Only podcast, episode number 88. We are inching closer to that 100 to the century mark. It is August 25th, which means NFL is around the corner. So this episode, we will feature some NFL predictions. Make sure you are following us on social media. We are SR Only Pod. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Hit that follow button. Stay interactive. You can follow our personal accounts. I am iGoose with 4 O's, and we have Healy as well.
You can follow me at the Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram.
So, Healy, you went to a couple of Cubs games back to back. You did some traveling
only one
weekend.
Cubs game, but I did to go to 2 games last week. Last week I saw the Nationals were playing in Milwaukee, so I bought tickets. I went to Saturday's game. Josiah Gray, guy who we've had on the podcast before. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. I went to go meet him. So I bought tickets for that. And then mid last week or last Tuesday, another guest of the podcast, Michael Hermosillo, got called up to the Cubs.
Yes.
So I bought tickets to Friday's game. Wanted to be there for his first ever game at Wrigley. So what was cool about it, I hit up my guy at Obvious Shirts. I'm like, yo, do you know of anyone that sells custom jerseys and can get me one like pronto? He's like, yo, my best friend, he owns Clark Street Sports. So I was going to get an authentic jersey. He did not have the size that I wear, but he was able to make a replica in my size, and it was sick. I got it for free too. So shout out to Clark Street Sports, Obvious Shirts. If you're interested in those, check them out. And I got my own Michael Hermosillo jersey, 32 on the back, Hermosillo. It is legit. And like what's awesome is because of Joe, like Obvious Shirts, the guy who owns it's name's Joe. Pretty good friends with him. So I had parking like right next to Wrigley. It was awesome. I literally like just parked my car. It was like the lot next to me where you had to pay was like $60. Like, thank you. So parked, walked over to his shop that he's setting up for the future, talked for a little bit, got the jersey, and then was able to go to the game. I kid you not. I was probably the only person in Wrigley to wear a jersey of a current Cubs player.
That's weird.
Every single jersey was Chris Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Sandberg, Soriano, like Arrieta, even guys who are no longer with the team. Ernie Banks, you see a little bit. Derek Lee, Ramos Ramirez, like you see all those. There isn't really a guy in the Cubs that you would have a jersey of. You might have Wilson. You might have seen a couple Wilsons here and there. Hendricks, but he's another underrated guy. Like right now, if you were to get a jersey, yeah, Hendricks or Contreras is probably the move. But that's only been the last month. Past 5 years, it's the main 3 guys, Rizzo, Baez, and Bryant. So
you have 2 of those behind you right now.
Yeah. So I felt like I was the only person wearing it. I had like a couple people ask too. They're like, yo, where'd you get that jersey? Because they recognize, like, who's going to have a Hermosillo jersey? He just got called up. Not a lot of people know about him. And yeah, it was pretty cool in that sense. I got to see Mike pinch hit. He struck out a couple times. A little unfortunate. It's all right, though. Got to see him play in the City Connect jerseys. That was awesome. And after the game, well, I was supposed to meet him before the game. He had like a couple interviews because he's the Chicago guy. They're trying to get as much press for anyone that they can. Unable to see him. Unable to see Justin as well. Justin Steele. So after the game, waited around. Mike texted me. He's like, we're doing testing right now. And by the time that was all over, they kicked us out. So I went with my friend Sean, who were like, yo, we're going to go find where they leave the building. We find that spot. They don't actually leave out of Wrigley Field. They have like a little tunnel and there's like a shop. So they have the team store and like it's just a building kind of like it doesn't look connected, but underground it is connected. So they're able to like walk through the clubhouse underneath, come up, and then exit out and quickly get into the parking lot if needed. I was able to see Justin. I wore my Nerves of Steel shirt. That was sick. Talked to me about MLB The Show. And then Hermosillo's significant other. I don't know if she's the girlfriend or wife yet. I don't know if he's proposed, but saw her and their kid. Went over, said what's up, and then waited for Mike to come out. And he wasn't. He was a little mad. He struck out a couple times, so he wasn't as friendly per se. He was like, "I just get me out of here." Like I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Said what's up regardless though. Got the jersey signed. Got the photo with the jersey. He thought it was really cool, and that was the Cubs day. And then the next day, going to the Brewers game. What's crazy about Milwaukee? We've talked about this with going to see a Bucks game. The drive to Wrigley on Friday was like an hour. It was about an hour. The drive to Milwaukee the following day was an hour and 18 minutes. Like, it's insane how close of a drive it is. Distance-wise, it's not close. But just time-wise, insane.
Because the route you take to Wrigley is just, eventually it's just congested.
Yep.
You sit in traffic. The drive to Milwaukee can be at times, but it opens up eventually, and it's just a straight shot. I mean, you literally can fly if you're feeling risky. You do 80 the whole way there.
Yeah, we flew all the way there, ended up parking. It was pretty hot. Like the weather was bad in Illinois. The Cubs game got delayed at one point. And I thought, cool. The roof was open. There was a nice breeze inside. Miller Park, or American Family Park, isn't bad. It's actually pretty cool with like how it's set up. More modern. You don't see a lot of it on TV, like the concession stand area, the team shop. It's like a newer stadium. So I like the feel of it. The parking wasn't bad. Got to walk around a little bit. At one point, though, the weather did start getting bad, so they closed the roof. And it was so humid that, like, once the roof closed, the wind was gone, and you were just sitting in the humidity. It was gross.
Was that your first time at that stadium?
I went, like, 10 years ago and saw, like, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals play them, but
oh, wow.
Don't really remember too much of that game. I just know the big stars that I saw. But this was like pretty much the first time since I've been older. Really good experience. Hope to go back at some point. An annoying part is I had great seats. They were pretty cheap too, down the third base line, kind of near the dugout. So in Wisconsin, or in Chicago for anyone that's listening, White Sox, Cubs, all virtual tickets. You don't get the pay stubs. You could, like, it's rare, but for the most part, everything's sold digitally. Milwaukee, every person had a stub. I was like one of the only people that used the app. So I go in there, scan my stuff. It's all good. We go to the game. After the game, when I'm home, I look at my email and it's like, "Oh, thanks for using the app. You've been selected to upgrade your tickets." I'm like, "No, I could have had upgraded tickets just for using the app." Like,
wow.
I wasn't gonna look because I never knew that was the thing. Like, where would my tickets have been that would have been better? I don't know. Would I have been right behind home plate saying hi on TV? No idea. That's the annoying part. I don't know where they were gonna be. I'm not mad that it didn't happen because my seats are cool, but it's just annoying because I'm like, where would they have been? Just the unknown.
It's so weird. I wonder if that's regulated by the state. That's so weird.
I have no idea, but I got to meet Josiah before the game. I unfortunately could not meet Josh Hader. Tried going over towards the bullpen saying what's up, but it was pretty hard to get his attention. He did say, though, next time I go, I will meet him. So we'll see about that. And it was weird, too, since I went to games on back-to-back days. I actually saw a few people at the Cubs game that went to the Brewers game as well.
What are the chances? Just baseball fans. That's what that
Yeah.
is.
So this guy, he wore like a David Ortiz jersey. He sat in front of me at the Cubs game. And man, I don't know where he came from. It was not, my nose was hurting that game, the Cubs game. He did not smell the best. So it's easy to remember him. And that's a key point because like during the game, he was on his phone a bunch. I like peeked a little bit. He was looking at hotels in Milwaukee. He was looking at stuff from Milwaukee. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll see him there tomorrow.
And you saw him there tomorrow.
And I
That's
saw
hilarious.
him there with his David Ortiz jersey, and I'm like, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense why my nose was on fire yesterday, why it didn't smell great. That right there.
He's been wearing the same jersey
Sweaty
all week, all summer.
Yeah, probably. And I saw this other kid with his dad. I remembered him because he had a cast on. So I saw him at the Cubs game, and then I saw the cast on him at the Milwaukee game too. So overall, great experience. I'm trying to go back next month. They play the Cubs. I almost wore a shirt that said I'd rather be at Wrigley to a Brewers Nationals game. You know,
I feel like there's Cubs fans in every stadium at every game, no matter what. I feel like that's just like law. Like there has to be Cubs fans.
Oh man,
That would have been
I'm definitely wearing it
hilarious.
next month, but it would have been funny just to wear it to a game where the Cubs weren't even involved and just have a bunch of people just throw profanities at me.
Division rival.
That's
That would have been funny.
at the bottom of the division while they're leading it.
Oh, you know that they're gonna trash talk.
Yep, no doubt about it. Christian Yelich, though, I got to see 2 home runs from him. One was a grand slam, the game-winning grand slam.
Jeez. Dude,
Overall,
they're coming
good
around.
weekend.
Milwaukee's coming around. Milwaukee came around, we should say. Yelich,
Yeah.
is he back to his MVP form? Who knows? He obviously was struggling a little bit after his injury. Didn't he get hurt the season before?
Yeah, 2019, I think it was. He broke his kneecap, and he hasn't really been the same.
Yep.
So it's good to see that. As being a Cubs fan, I don't like seeing it because it's terrible when he's really good. But for the Brewers' sake, good for him. And they have their stud pitching. They're looking good going into the postseason. Colton Juan's heating up.
Yep.
So overall, like we might have to just hit up, if you're down to go to Milwaukee, hit up a Brewers game. Definitely have to hit up a Bucks game.
Definitely got to go to a Bucks game. I know people personally that have gone to their stadium. They love it. I like going to Brewers games. I've gone to one Brewers game. It was a couple of years back. They faced the Dodgers. Kershaw was on the mound. It was Hader's first game back after the All-Star break where he got destroyed, and obviously a whole lot of other stuff came out.
Manny Machado.
Oh
was
my
a Dodger.
Gosh. And I felt like I was in like a movie. It was a night game. The stadium lights were on. Everything was cheap-ish, cheaper than Chicago, I'll tell you that. And actually, I've been to a Reds. I've been to Great American, and everything was cheap there. So maybe it's just Chicago sucks. But anyways, I just remember like I fell in love with the atmosphere of the stadium, and maybe it was just the fact that it was a night game, but you let me know. I'm game. It doesn't have to be Sox. It doesn't have to be Cubs. I'm always down for a game. But we should definitely look at some Giannis versus the new and improved Chicago Bulls, because they're going to play multiple times throughout the season. They're in the same division. So you could definitely probably catch us there. I'll sit on the floor if I have to. Maybe not the floor. I'll do like
Maybe
100
not the
level.
Bulls because Chicago will travel. Maybe like let's just say Milwaukee, the Nets, Milwaukee, the Lakers. One of those
That would
games.
that would not be a bad idea. That would
What's
not be.
opening night? Milwaukee Nets.
It is. I never saw Kobe play, and the year that he was retiring, it was known prices skyrocketed, and I wasn't making as much money as I'm making now. I refuse to go this lifetime without seeing LeBron James play a basketball game. So in the NBA, like Olympics, I don't even know if he was in the exhibition game that I saw. I couldn't tell you.
Mhm.
But I need to see LeBron play before he retires, and that's going to include Anthony Davis, who I've never seen. I've seen Westbrook play when he was with OKC, when Durant was still there. Durant hit a game winner, and Westbrook went off. It was the craziest game I've ever seen. But I need to see LeBron James. And as a basketball fan, the fact that I never saw Kobe, obviously it's never going to happen. And if I go without seeing LeBron James, I am not a true basketball fan. And I will never be happy as a basketball fan if I never see LeBron play.
Yeah,
So let's
and
make it happen.
you might as well, especially with him being as good as he is still, and with his injuries he's had the past couple of seasons, might want to hop on that early. I've seen LeBron play. I saw him play his rookie year. That made me a LeBron fan for a bit. I rooted for the Cavs. And then I saw him maybe back when he was with the Cavs again. I remember going with Jose, who we used to work with. I remember we went to a game because our boss had like season tickets and it was free for like it wasn't free, but like they weren't going to the Cavs Bulls game. And we decided to take advantage of it. So I think I've seen LeBron twice. It doesn't process in my brain as me seeing it. Like, and I would rather have an experience where I'm like, I definitely saw you play.
Yeah, it's something when you get older too. I feel like we kind of process those things a little bit differently. Because like I saw Derrick Rose play his rookie year against Golden State. My dad bought us tickets, me, him, my brother, and my good friend, Taiwan. And we were like, let's go see Derrick Rose play. He's the rookie. Our team wasn't winning. We literally sat like on the floor for like $100 a piece. And which is cheap. That's very cheap for Bulls games, basketball games nowadays. And I just remember vividly, I don't remember the whole game. I remember Golden State was okay. And it was an older Golden State. I don't even know if Steph Curry was there yet. I think he came the year after. And I remember at the end of the game, Derrick Rose is still in. And at some point, we're yelling, like the fans are gone because the Bulls are up like 20 points. And I just remember yelling for Rose to dunk, to throw it down. And there's like 2 minutes left. And he takes off. He's setting up the ISO, crossover, takes off to throw down a dunk, and he gets fouled. And I was just like, dude, he heard us. I was like, he for sure. Because when there's no fans there, you can hear almost you hear the players chatter too. And so I was like, all right, I remember that, but I don't remember like watching him play. Like I don't have that vivid memory of watching him play. So LeBron is a must. We've seen Zach LaVine. We've seen this Bulls team. We've seen Kobe White. Like I remember seeing those guys play. That was a couple years ago against Toronto, which is pretty cool.
I definitely need to see Durant as well. He's another one where you can't really go your lifetime without seeing. And he's really good. He might be the best player in basketball right now on paper. Like Giannis is really good or whatever. But like he's at his peak. He's at his best right now. Take advantage of seeing him. So also with this Nets team, him, Harden, Irving, if they're healthy, especially game one, we might as well look for tickets to the Bucks. And it might be the rain night, so it might be super expensive, but we could try.
I wonder do they play each other once in each city because they're in different divisions? Is that how that works?
That That I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not sure how like Eastern Conference is. I know you play everyone in your division 4 times, I believe. And then
Yeah.
everyone in like outside your division, there's a bunch. Maybe besides a couple teams, you play 3 times and you play a couple teams twice. I could be wrong, but they play the Nets in New York or in Brooklyn, January. They play them again. They play February in Milwaukee again.
Okay. So maybe
So they play 4 times.
so they do. Okay, that's good. So we have time. The first game is going to be nuts because of, I mean, the Nets should be healthy, right? Kyrie was missing some games there. Harden was a little beat up in the playoffs. The Bucks, they get rid of PJ Tucker and they brought in somebody else. I can't remember. It was a good pickup acquisition. But then again, it's how hard is it going to be to get tickets? Either way, it's going to happen. Either way, it's going to happen.
And then they play the Lakers November in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee. Okay. Hopefully it's not a rest day for LeBron. You can bet your ass he's going to have quite a few rest days.
Yeah, and I think against Milwaukee, no. Hopefully against Chicago, no. But those are definitely a couple options for us to go to. And like I would like to see the Bulls play against some of these teams, but obviously the Bucks won the championship. You're going to get very good games from these two teams. An easy drive get there.
It'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun. But with that being said, the main focal point for everybody right now, that's anybody, season starts September 9th, the NFL. We got some predictions. I looked through the list of the divisions. We can start with let's start with our division. You're a Bears fan, I'm a Packers fan, or conference, I should say. We'll start with the NFC. You can lead. I'll let you start off this one.
All right. So we're going to go over our division winners. A couple teams that'll make the wild card. There's going to be 3 teams this year. Last year we did 2, and like it wasn't implemented yet. So there's 3 extra teams that are able to make it, and then we'll pick our Super Bowl picks. We won't go through like a full bracket. There's no use. So starting with the West, I think the team that comes out on top is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. They're a very solid team. They have a great defense. I think because the Rams now have Stafford over Goff, it just instantly makes them the best team in that division. The Seahawks, they went 12-4 last year. We know they're great. I just feel a little bit of a regression from that team. I don't necessarily know if they've like added much to their team. So that's not great. The Cardinals are going to be good. The 49ers should be pretty good. They're having QB competition right now. They had a lot of guys on IR last year. They finished 6-10. But right now, division winner, I'm going with the Rams. NFC South. This is such an easy pick this year. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last year, the Saints took it. It was pretty much a coin flip. I think the Saints won both games against the Bucs, which made them have the division. They went 6-0 in the division, which gave them the division for last year. Drew Brees is gone. They have Jameis at quarterback. I just don't see it. Tampa Bay. NFC East. This is the first time I'm thinking about this division. Every other division I feel like I have on lock. The Washington football team took it with 7-9 last year. They got Fitzpatrick, right? Yeah. They got Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I am just going to go. I feel like this is another toss-up division. Not a great division, but it's a toss-up. I'm just going to go with the Cowboys. With Dak being back, Zeke, just have them. And then I'll go with the Packers for the North. I don't really think it's going to be close. Justin Fields starts day one, and he's a beast. Maybe they could get close, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to have another super efficient season, and it's going to be hard to lose as the Green Bay Packers. I'll wait for my wild card team. You pick your division winners.
So I have literally the same division winners. As you mentioned, the NFC East is the toughest simply because even though all of those teams were horrible the last 2 years, they all have this weird potential to be really good, including like the Eagles, who were 4-11. My pick is the Cowboys simply because Dak Prescott started off hot. I know he has an injury right now in the preseason. Apparently, he's going to be good to go for the start. He had the freak injury. Washington has a very, 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 very good football team. They do have Fitzmagic. The defense is great. We saw Chase Young light it up in his rookie year, surrounded by some other studs. I still don't think that they will. It's going to be close. And even the Giants could technically give a run in the East because Daniel Jones is another year older. He's proven that he is not the worst quarterback, although there are videos of him surfacing in camp where he is completely missing receivers. So we'll see what happens there. But the return of Saquon Barkley as well. Not sure if he's going to start right away. We'll see what ends up happening. So that's the East in a nutshell, right? NFC North, Green Bay Packers, no reason they shouldn't go at least 12-5 and take the division because there's 17 games now. Chicago will give a good run. I think that eventually, even if Andy Dalton continues to start and does well, he's got to do well enough to the fact that they are winning. They went 8-8 last year with Mitch Trubisky, who I felt like this team had troubles finding their identity on the offense. It wasn't until late in the season, Montgomery started to kick it up a notch. So I think the Bears could be okay and compete, but again, ultimately, Aaron Rodgers with the last dance. NFC South, again, is it really a question? Drew Brees is gone. The Saints are a mediocre team. They are no better than the Panthers and the Falcons, but I guarantee you that the Bucs are the best in that division. And the NFC West is probably the toughest division because 49ers 6-10 last year. I can almost guarantee they're going to be a 500 team. And actually, I don't see anybody in that division being under 500. But I am going with the Rams simply because their defense is locked down. They just added Stafford. They still have the talented receivers. Running back situation, I know Cam Akers is out for the season.
They just traded for Sony Michel today.
So, exactly. They trade for Sony Michel. So, I mean, they essentially are missing nothing. I think that they end up taking the division. It's going to be close with the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the 49ers. They're all going to be in that bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking 2 wildcard spots out of the 3. But that is my divisional winners. And if you want, I will give you my wildcard prediction as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have mine too.
Okay. My wildcard prediction. So there's 3. There's 3 this year. Last year we had the Bucs, the Saints. Oh no, I'm sorry, the Bucs, the Rams, and the Bears.
Yeah.
This is tough, but I see the Bears taking at least the 3rd wildcard spot. NFC South is going to have no wildcard teams. NFC East is going to have no wildcard teams. I predict the Seahawks, and I think the Cardinals will be better. They should be better defensively with the addition of J.J. Watt. I'm going to go Seattle, Cardinals, and Bears as the 3 wild card teams.
Yeah, I have those exact 3 as well. I think the Bears could sneak in. As you mentioned, the 2 divisions, the South and the East, are just so weak. So you have 3 options out of the West. I think 2 of them take it. Why not the 49ers? I just think, why not the 49ers over the Cardinals? You probably are thinking similarly. Kyler Murray is established. They have a good receiving core. They signed J.J. Watt. They're solid. I just think the downfall of the 49ers is going to be their quarterback play, and a reason why they could lose some of the games that are probably winnable for them. Their
Yeah.
defense is going to be top tier, but their quarterback probably going to be the downfall. If not, I think the 49ers are just next. They're knocking on the door to the playoffs.
Yeah, I completely agree. 49ers, their defense, like you said, they were hurt last year. And actually, the fact that they went 6-10 and we're only 2 games away from Arizona, who was pretty much healthy the whole season, it is technically a toss-up, but I still feel like Arizona is progressing a little bit more and did progress in the offseason. So,
So that is our NFC picks. Now we
now
got
the
the
AFC.
AFC.
AFC's tough. AFC's very, very tough. I'll start off the AFC, and then you can go with your wild card. I'm going to start off in the AFC West only because, to me, that is a given as long as Pat Mahomes is under center. So, Kansas City Chiefs by a landslide in the AFC West. The Raiders were a 500 team. Chargers were right there. Gabbert is still... I'm sorry, not Gabbert. Wow. The Chargers quarterback, I should say, Hibbert, is good. He's very good, and Herbert is very good, and I do think that he has one of the best arms for being only a second-year guy, about to be a second-year guy. But at the end of the day, besides Justin Herbert to Keenan Allen, and the defense, yeah, they have Bosa, they have some other talent, they have some pretty good defensive backs. I just don't really see them challenging the Chiefs too much in that division. I know that they did give Mahomes troubles last year. There was a game where they gave him some troubles, but ultimately he ended up going 14-2. I don't see him losing more than 3 or 4 games in the season. At AFC North, that one is another toss-up because you have the Steelers, who turned it around last season, went apeshit. Baltimore Ravens, obviously, top-tier defense. Lamar Jackson had a down year compared to the year before. Still won 11-5, and then you have the Browns, who is super loaded offensively. For that division, I'm going to go Baltimore. I do believe Baltimore is going to take the division this year simply because their defense. Pittsburgh, I'm changing. I'm going Pittsburgh again in the AFC North. I just was thinking about it. They drafted Harris at running back. They're still stocked. Big Ben lost a bunch of weight. He's looking good. Juju stayed with Pittsburgh. They have Chase Claypool. They have an excellent all-round offense, and their defense to me is, I'm not going to say that it's better than Baltimore's, but it's right there. Their defense was great last year. So I'm sticking with Pittsburgh there. In the AFC East, this one's tough too because New England looks way better than what they did last year, but ultimately it's one of those, I still think the Bills are very powerful offensively and defensively are very good too. So I'm going to stick with Buffalo. They were 7-1 at home last year. In the division, they went undefeated. They went 6-0. AFC South, another toss-up. The Colts, they go out. Obviously, they had Phillip Rivers last year. They go 11-5. Tennessee, we know what Tennessee has to offer. Defense was actually not as good last year, but their offense stepped it up. They have Julio Jones. Houston could be good. Jacksonville, they went 1-15. I give them 3 more wins simply because of Trevor Lawrence. I still don't think they're going to do anything. Houston, it's going to take a lot for them. There's a lot going on with Deshaun Watson. Obviously, we don't know what is to happen with Deshaun Watson and this team, let alone his illegal stance. So to me, it's a toss-up between the Colts, between Tennessee. Colts obviously established a pretty damn good running game with Jonathan Taylor. Colts it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Carson Wentz now, if he starts and he's healthy, I think he could do good things. But I'm gonna go with Tennessee. One final run for Tennessee. I don't know how many more runs they're truly gonna have, but with the addition of Julio, it opens up. Somehow it's gonna open up the run game even more because now you have two deep threats, two great route runners with AJ Brown. And even though they lost Corey Davis, that's okay because they have Julio Jones. So I'm gonna go Tennessee.
All right. Pretty much the same for me, except in the AFC North. I am going to go with the Browns. I feel like the Browns will take the division this year. I feel like Baker is about to take the next step. Their defense is going to be solid. We saw in the playoffs last year, they destroyed the Steelers, remember correctly. So,
yeah.
With that, I just think the Browns, this is another division where there's three good teams. And I think you're going to be the same with me. Whatever team we didn't pick to win the division, the other two teams are going to be a wild card spot.
Yep.
Yeah. So my first two teams going to go Steelers, Ravens in the wild card. This last team though, I am struggling to pick up who's gonna be the last team. You could easily pick the Colts. It's just, I don't know what Carson Wentz is going to be like. Phillip Rivers, he wasn't like great, but he managed the team. He was able to get games won, especially with the defense that they had. Just their defense can be as electric as they were last year. I don't know. They allowed 362 points, which rounded out to 18 points per game. Really low. Are they going to be an 18 points per game this year? And is Wentz going to keep up? I don't know. You got the West, which the Raiders or the Chargers could step up. I don't necessarily think so. This is going to be a weird team, but I think the Dolphins will sneak in as a third spot.
That's not a bad pick. The Dolphins are a very good football team. I mean, just from the simple fact that they turned their franchise around trade deadline 2 years ago. They traded for draft picks and, traded away pretty good players for draft picks. And they also got players in return. Tua doesn't look bad. The defense is good. I can see them winning 11 games this year. Will it get them in the playoffs? I think that could be a wild card. I think 11 or 12 wins will solidify wild card status with a 17-game season.
Who's your third team?
So definitely Ravens and Browns. And my third team, this is very tough. This is tough. Like you said, the Raiders could be good. I'm just going through like who's got what on the and the Patriots I feel like may turn it around, but ultimately I'm going to stick with the Dolphins are going to make a run. I think the Dolphins are going to make a run as well. I personally do like the Dolphins team. The fact that they did what they did last year. I like Tua. I don't even know who's their. They have Myles Gaskin. Can't forget about Myles Gaskin. We don't know what's going to happen with their receiving core. That's kind of a toss up there because they do have Devontae Parker. Will Fuller, I think, is suspended. I don't know how long he's suspended for. Let's see. Will Fuller is suspended 6 games for PEDs. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I know that he's actually missing 1 game. So that's going to complete a 6-game suspension carried over from last year. So, and he's always dangerous. So you had him with Devontae Parker, Devontae Parker had a little bit of an off year last year. He only caught 63 balls for almost 800 yards, but it's just one of those, you just never know what's going to happen. And then obviously with the defensive side, Xavier Howard, 10 interceptions last year, led the league. Very good defensive backs. They got Jerome Baker, Raekwon Davis, nose tackle, some other guys back there too. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think that they are actually going to be an 11-6 team, and they're gonna pull it off. They're gonna make the wild card.
Okay, so with that out of the way, we're going to give our Super Bowl predictions. I'll go first because I already know what you're going to say. People at home don't. This is going to be weird. So AFC, got to go with the Chiefs. Like, there's just no way to pick against them right now. I just don't see a team that can compete. Maybe the Browns or like a team from the AFC North. I don't know. I still think the Chiefs are unreal no matter what. NFC. Could be easy to pick the Packers. Went with them last year. I don't want to give the same prediction. Could be easy to pick the Buccaneers. They won the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're going to have the same run they are this year. I'm going to go with who I picked to win the NFC West, the Los Angeles Rams. Weird selection. What I'm doing, like, it's just a feeling. I have no really facts behind it. I just feel like the defense of the Rams could click, and Matt Stafford could just be the X factor.
Yeah, yeah. This was supposed to be the matchup 2 seasons ago. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I think that I am going to go with the Chiefs as well. I don't see how, unless there's an injury somewhere. And like you said, an AFC North team just literally kicks out, because any 3 of those teams, the top 3 in the AFC North, are as right there. NFC North, I'm going to stick with my predictions from last year. I'm going Green Bay simply because Green Bay should have been in the dance last year. They outplayed, Rodgers outplayed Tom Brady, but the play calling was better on the Tampa Bay side, clearly. And let's face it, you pick off Brady 2 or 3 times in a game, and you are forced to punt from within your 20 multiple times. Brady's defense is nuts, but I don't know if they will have the same success this year. Brady's only another year older. I know everybody thinks he is like a vampire. He's never going to age. He'll never retire. But this is the last dance for Rodgers. And here's the thing. If Rodgers wins, let's just say he's done with Green Bay after, for sure, right? They reconstruct. He's 1 year. He's done. If he wins, the contract he is going to get is nuts, no matter where he goes. Then there's this one-off chance where he might rekindle his love for Green Bay and say, well, let's do another 2-year contract, 1-1. So regardless, it's only going to work out and benefit Rodgers to really pull one out finally since 2010, 2011. And I think they have the team to do it. They added to the defense. The defense was the best it's been since they last won the Super Bowl. The offense is good. They bring in Randall Cobb. They're rekindling that relationship. Great slot receiver, even at his age. Devontae Adams, the game speaks for itself. He is arguably the best receiver in the game for the last couple of seasons. They have the run game. They brought back Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon, back up to him, is incredible. He's had a couple big runs in preseason already. So I think that Green Bay only got better in the offseason. And Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Kevin King, we'll see what happens with him. Don't know. He's good and bad. Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos. I like Green Bay. I personally think Green Bay, on paper, matches up with Tampa. And when it comes down to the talent on both sides of the ball, Aaron Rodgers, to me, edges out Tom Brady. Do you want to give your winner of the Super Bowl?
I
Should
would
we
have to
wait
go
till the
with
playoffs?
I would just have to go with the Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would. I would go with the Chiefs as well. Over Green Bay. Last year I said Green Bay over the Chiefs. So I am switching up my prediction a little bit.
It's so easy to pick the Chiefs. I get it. People listening are probably like, duh. Like, of course you're going to say that. They're just so good. It's like you're playing Madden franchise and you've edited some of your players to just dominate the league. Can't go against them.
Yeah. I mean, if you were a gambling man, that's how I look at it. Sometimes you got to take the fan cap off, right? If you were betting your house, realistically, who would you bet on? Kansas City all day. Why would you bet against Pat Mahomes ever? Why would you bet your house? But you know what I mean.
So, yeah, we both have the Chiefs for that. And just hoping for a good NFL season. Next week, the games are going to start. We wanted to do our NFL predictions this week to give you guys time to actually listen to this episode. And next week, we could talk about the games itself, whatnot. We're 1 week away. Preseason's almost over.
Yes. First game of the season is actually
Next
2
Thursday.
weeks from. No, it's the 9th.
Oh, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, it's still the 25th.
Okay.
We still got some time, but that's fine. That's fine. Next week may or may not have a special guest. Stay tuned. But we may give a little bit of fantasy insight now that fantasy season's around. We do plan on implementing that. I'm big on daily fantasy sports with basketball, with football. So we definitely will integrate a couple minute segment into our weekly episodes as we roll out the NFL season. So make sure you guys tune in. But I think that's going to wrap up the episode. Healy, is there anything else you want to add?
No. Good.
All right. So that's it, guys. Make sure you tune in. Follow us on social media, SR Only Pod. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that download button. And we'll see you guys next week.